Hey everyone, my name is Steve Chu, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my 12 sources of income that together make me over $2 million a year working around 20 hours per week. Now, having these sources of income, of which some are completely passive, allows me to spend the majority of my time with my family and my kids. Now, I know that might sound like a lot, but it is possible to achieve with the right mindset and the right strategies. Now, I'm going to go over each income stream in detail and explain how I've been able to turn them into successful and sustainable businesses. So first off, how many of you watching this are parents or soon to be parents? Now it takes a lot of work, time, and money to raise kids, and I don't know about you, but as soon as my wife became pregnant with our first child, I knew that I needed to buckle down and that I didn't want to spend all my time at the office. Now at the time, I was an engineering director of microprocessor design, working about 50 to 60-hour weeks, and I was in the office all day and I was out on the phone at night with the India team. But as soon as my wife told me that she was pregnant, something magical happened. All of a sudden, I wanted to make more money. All of a sudden, I wanted to buy a house in a good school district. All of a sudden, I knew that I needed to make a change. So my wife and I developed a 5-year plan to achieve financial freedom. And today, I coach my kids' sports teams, I help them with homework, my wife volunteers at their schools, and we work about 20 hours per week to generate over $2 million per year. Now, my first source of income is my e-commerce store over at bumblebeelinens.com. Now at this store, we sell handkerchiefs and linens for special occasions, and we started this store in 2007 so that my wife could quit her job and stay at home with the kids. Now before we started Bumblebee Linens, my wife was working about 50 to 60-hour weeks at a job that she didn't really like. And every morning she'd come to me and with this really long face and say, "Honey, I'm off to the hellhole I call my job now." Now selling handkerchiefs sounds pretty random, and it 100% is. And here's how we came up with the idea. When my wife and I were engaged to be married, she knew that she was going to cry. After all, who wouldn't cry at the thought of spending the rest of their lives with me, right? Anyway, she wanted a handkerchief to dry her tears of joy. And we couldn't find any anywhere except for this factory in China. Now, factories have minimum order quantities, so we ended up ordering a bunch, used maybe 6, and then listed the rest on eBay, where they sold like hotcakes. So when my wife became pregnant with our first child, we decided to sell handkerchiefs online. And our store ended up making over $100K in profit in our first year, which allowed her to quit. And today this is a 7-figure business. And we've actually run this store for over 15 years now, and it continues to run strong. And in fact, we recently purchased our own warehouse for the business. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to start your own e-commerce store, sign up for my free 6-day mini course below. My second source of income is my blog. Now, after word got out about our handkerchief business to my friends, all of them started asking me how we did it. And a lot of my friends are Asian, so they're mostly doctors, lawyers, and engineers, and they were tired of working 50 to 60-hour weeks. So I started documenting our journey over at mywifequitherjob.com, and even though my friends did not end up reading it, a bunch of random people did, and I started to build a following in the world of e-commerce. And I didn't do anything special. I simply told the truth and documented every strategy that I tried with my shop along with real numbers. Full transparency. Now, having built an audience through mywifequitherjob.com has allowed me to create 5 additional income streams that I'll list here. Affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is where you earn a cut of the sale for referring someone to a product that you recommend. And remember how I developed a following on mywifequitherjob.com talking about my e-commerce strategies? Well, literally everyone started asking me which tools did I use to sell online, and all I had to do was tell the truth. Because I was using these tools every day, I had no problems recommending them, so why not make some money doing something that I was already doing? And to be honest, I was promoting all these tools for free at the time anyway, so why not? And because of the popularity of my blog, companies reach out to me with all their latest e-commerce tools every single day, and here's what I do. I try them in my store, report on the results, and just recommend the good ones. It's as simple as that, and affiliate marketing alone makes me 6 figures per year. The next income stream is through selling online courses. Right now, I have 2 courses that I sell. One is called Profitable Online Store, which teaches you how to start an online store and sell physical products online. And the other is called Profitable Audience, which teaches you how to start a successful blog, YouTube channel, and podcast. Now, online courses have a bad name out there, and there are a ton of spammy courses offered on Facebook and YouTube, which is why I run my course differently. Instead of just pointing people to a repository of videos, I actually hold a live online classroom every single week where I interact with the students directly. I also do website critiques where I'll literally redesign your entire website for you. Now, I don't run a volume class. Instead, what I do is I charge a higher price to weed out the tire kickers, and then I focus on making my existing students successful, and this strategy works. When someone is successful, I invite them on my podcast to talk about their journey with full transparency, and this always leads to more signups. I don't charge monthly fees or nickel and dime anyone because that's not how I would like to be treated. There are zero upsells. I charge one lump sum fee for lifetime access, and our interests are aligned. Because I want you to be successful so I can brag about you, which always leads to more success for the both of us. Anyway, online courses generate me a healthy six-figure income per year as well. My next source of income is advertising. Now, I don't run a lot of ads on my blog, but I do monetize this YouTube channel with ads. And I actually debated for a long time whether to even turn on ads for YouTube. But then YouTube actually started displaying ads on my videos whether I wanted them to or not. So as a result, I figured I may as well turn them on to get something out of it. And today this channel is on pace to generate over $300K per year just on ads alone. Don't get me wrong, building up this channel was a slog, and it took me about 2.5 years to hit 100K subs, but I've been consistently posting at least once per week, and I plan on doing this indefinitely. My next source of income is podcast sponsorships. Now, I've been running my podcast since 2014, and what's funny is that I started my podcast not to make money, but to meet other people. Every week, I invite an interesting guest on the show who I want to get to know, and we chat for at least an hour. And in fact, I've actually met most of my good business friends from my podcast. Anyway, I've been publishing at least one episode per week now for 8 years, and it's built up quite a following. In fact, it is a top 25 show on all of Apple Podcasts in the marketing category. Now, when you can attract many listeners, companies want to reach your audience. As a result, I literally get 3 to 5 emails per day from companies who want to sponsor. But you know me, I only take on sponsors for tools that I actually use for my business, so it's a win-win. I get to brag about the companies I love and get paid for it too. Now, I don't focus a lot on the sponsorship side of my business, but it does generate about 100K per year in profit. My next source of income is that I run an annual e-commerce event called the Seller Summit. This is an event that caters to entrepreneurs selling physical products online, and I've been running it for 7 years now. And I've designed the event based on the type of event that I would personally want to attend. So for example, I hate large events. I really do. Going to a large conference is intimidating and overwhelming. As a result, I purposely keep the Seller Summit small and intimate, and we actually cap ticket sales at around 200 people. Another thing I hate about going to large events is that I get anxiety about who I'm going to eat meals with or what I'm going to do at night. Problem solved. In my event, everyone eats together and we all party together. Everything is paid and covered, so everyone attends everything. I also want to have meaningful conversations with people, and this is incredibly intimidating to do at a large event. So we actually run a mastermind group where we break up into groups of 10 for an entire day and help each other with our businesses. Running a small event is not a huge moneymaker, but again, I do it to scratch my own itch and the formula works. I also hate conferences that have sponsors go on stage and sell their services. I don't want to hear from big companies. I want to hear about the small business owners who are in the trenches. So I pretty much only allow brands to speak. Anyway, if you ever want to come and hang out, go over to sellersummit.com. My next source of income is being an author. So I haven't officially announced this yet anywhere, so you guys are actually the first to know. But my book, called The Family First Entrepreneur, comes out next May. In fact, I'm going to be doing a book signing at my e-commerce conference, the Seller Summit. So what is this book about, and why did I write it? Well, first off, this book is about how to succeed in business without sacrificing your family life. Now, have you noticed that when it comes to entrepreneurship, everyone just talks about hustling harder or scaling your business 10x or working 80 hours per week? But what they never mention is how this mentality makes you miserable and sad. And I'll tell you straight up that running a business this way will not only burn you out, but it will also estrange you from your family and your friends. Because let's face it, most of us just want to have a business to spend more time with family or to achieve financial freedom. We don't need $1 billion in the bank. If we can make enough money that allows us to have free time to do what we want to do and spend more time with family, well, that's all that matters. Anyway, this book is about my exact strategies for running a business without it taking over your life. It is possible to make a good amount of money and have tons of free time to spend with your loved ones. So by the way, if you guys want to be on the pre-launch list for the book, sign up below. I'm actually going to be giving away a ton of freebies for people on this list and throwing parties all across the US. My next source of income is sponsored content. Now, I rarely accept sponsored content, but occasionally I'll create a piece of content for a company that I love. For example, I've done sponsored content for Ecommerce, Klaviyo, Postscript, and a couple of others in the past. Now, this is not a huge revenue generator for me since I don't focus on it, but it does make me tens of thousands of dollars per year. Now, even though the money is good for sponsored content, it does take a lot of time to produce. As a result, I focus on other sources of revenue that can scale my time better. My next source of income is through angel investing, and to be fair, I can't really legitimately call this a source of revenue yet because my gains are only on paper so far. But I enjoy investing and helping other companies succeed as well. And over the years, I've invested in several e-commerce and SaaS companies that are doing fantastic, and I'm confident will have a lucrative exit someday. Another source of income of mine is stock investments. Right now, stocks have been hurting big time, but guess what? I'm a long-term investor. There are literally some stocks that I've held since the 80s, no joke. I don't do anything fancy. I simply buy companies that I love and know well, and I just hold their stock. As a result, I mainly focus on stocks in the tech sector. After all, I used to be an electrical engineer designing microprocessors. I understand tech and keep up with the industry as best that I can. Another source of income I have is consulting. Now, this can be through a one-on-one consult or a group workshop. And again, I don't do these very often because it's not an effective use of my time, but I am human. If there's a company or person that I really like and I want to help, I'll actually take the time to speak with them one-on-one. Now, my final source of income is real estate. Now, because I live in Silicon Valley, which is one of the most ridiculous places in the world, the houses that I purchased in the past 2 decades have increased in value many-fold. I'm also an investor in a real estate fund. And recently, I actually just invested in buying my own warehouse for my e-commerce store. Now, right now, inflation is at an all-time high, and in general, real estate's actually an excellent hedge against inflation. The mortgage on your property stays constant for a 30-year fixed loan, for example, and due to inflation reducing the value of a dollar, the amount that you owe becomes less over time. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy real estate right now because what you buy has to make sense financially, but I will say this. If you plan on living in your home or housing your business in your own warehouse for the foreseeable future, it's actually very difficult to lose money if you decide to buy versus rent. And in fact, my friends who have been successful with real estate on a large scale tend to buy income-generating properties en masse and consistently trade up to larger properties over time by taking advantage of the 1031 exchange rule. Now, as you can see, I have multiple sources of income that together make me over $2 million per year. This has allowed me to have a diverse and sustainable income and not to rely on just one source. But here's the thing that you must understand. Your day job will likely not be enough to make you like changing money. In order to achieve financial freedom, you have to have a side hustle or something you're working on the side. And I hope that by sharing my experiences, I can inspire you to think about ways that you can diversify your own income streams and achieve your financial goals. Okay, now that you know about my income sources, make sure you watch this video on my philosophies on building wealth and achieving financial freedom. After all, being successful in business and life is as much about your mindset as it is about strategy.